talking about getting married to Javed Akhtar.
I say he doesn't have a romantic bone in his body. We fight like mad people. Then one of us will say, drop it.
And talking about Farhan, you know, how do you look at his artistic journey?
He dropped out of college and then he sat at home for 1 year and every single day he only watched films.
Any particular memories with, both your parents?
He said, Beta, if you tell me that you want to be a mochi, if you want to be a cobbler, I will support you in that also. Provided you tell yourself that you'll try to be the best cobbler in the business. My God, when you have that kind of support from your parents, then, the sky is the limit. The process of rearing the children was a very natural one. It was not this hysteria that now these helicopter mothers are going through.
Talking about getting married to Javed Akhtar. I think he's a person who has the wit, the intellect, the poetry, the romantic poetry, outlook to life in a different manner, maybe similar to yours in that sense. So what drew you towards him?
First, I had completely different notions of him. I thought he was this big Salim Javed and, they think no end of themselves and all that. I had these notions of him, but he had started writing poetry. And he would come to my father to see his poetry and see if it was worth something. So he used to keep coming to the house. And his father was very well known to my family. So we all knew each other in that sense. And then one day while he and Abba were talking, I started sitting with them and I realized, my God, he's not at all the man that his reputation has created. And firstly, I was extremely taken up by his wit and his intelligence and his humor and all of that. And then I realized that he's so similar to my father. So in discovering Javed, I was also rediscovering my father's roots. So it was like as if it had to be. And in all the years that we've been married, there hasn't been, we fight like mad people, but one thing that we've agreed upon, which I think has made life very easy for us, is that when we are getting at each other's throats, then one of us will say, drop it. And it works, Chanda. Because you drop it, matlab you really drop it. You're not sulking, you're not doing anything. And then 4-5 days later, when you are calmer and you're not going to say hurtful things to each other, you speak. And then it can be resolved without all that ugliness that can come to it. So I feel I wish we can do that with our relationships, with our friends, with our colleagues, anything. At that particular point, drop it, because when you're so angry, you're not in control of yourself and you say very hurtful things that you don't even really mean, and that can really create a crack in the relationship. So I think that is what's held us in good stead, and the fact that we are very good friends. I think that is important. We have the same worldview, we have the same interests, but we are very good friends. And I think that's what keeps it going.
And what about his romantic shairi? Has he written anything for you specially?
The number of, I've repeated this so often, I can't tell you, the number of women who come to me and say, he must be writing such romantic poetry.
सुबह सुबह उठ के बोलते होंगे, तुमको देखा तो ये ख्याल आया.
ये सब कुछ नहीं है. I say he doesn't have a romantic bone in his body. So then people go to him and say, okay, Javed Sahab, how is it possible? He's saying, अगर आप trapeze एक्रोबैट है तो घर में उल्टे लटकते रहते हैं क्या? मैंने कहा ये क्या चीज भी तुमको देखा तो ख्याल आया तो खैर फिर भी मैं बोल सकती हूँ, मगर एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा it's got nothing to do with you, with me at all. But there are different ways. I mean, there are some really, really nice ways. For instance, we were at an exhibition of Salvador Dali, and there was a sculpture that I saw, and I liked it. So he said, "You liked it?" I said, like that. I underplayed it. He bought that. He kept it in somebody else's house for so many days. He got it on my birthday.
Oh.
He put it in the room, and it's a very famous thing of his, not time. And then he wrote the poem, Waqt, jo unki poem hai. And he left it for me.
Okay, okay.
And he said, "I don't know whether I'm more proud of you or whether I love you more." My mother had warned me कि देखो शायर से शादी मत करो, वो once in a way एक चुटकुली देंगे, and then for the rest of your life you will pass in it.
You mentioned how you grew up in a commune and so on. Any particular memories with both your parents?
Oh, many. Now, I was in a convent school, and I wanted, like everybody else, I wanted a blonde doll with blue eyes. And my father, I was 7 years old, he gave me a black doll. And he's explaining to me that, "Bete, black is beautiful too." But so there are little things that were there. I also remember an amazing incident of my mother. Once, I was convinced my mother loved my brother more. And something happened, and at that time I was being very rebellious, and I had become very rude. So my mother sat me down. I was all of 9 years old. She said, "Why are you being so rude? What is the matter? What's troubling you?" So I said, "I feel you love Baba more than you love me." So she said, "Bete, please realize that I'm your mother, but I'm also a human being. You behave obnoxiously, and Baba is a very sweet-tempered and a very soft-spoken boy. So obviously I will gravitate more towards him. And if you continue to behave, who will want to be with you?" And it was like the penny dropped, and I became okay from the next day. And then when I asked my mother, I said, "How could you possibly say this to a 9-year-old child?" Because today mothers would go into hundreds of psychiatrists and all that and say, "Oh, my daughter is going to get an inferiority complex and all that." She said, "I didn't even think of it. I was so confident that you knew that I loved you, but you had to behave yourself, and so I had to do it." So, the process of rearing the children was a very natural one. It was not this hysteria that now these helicopter mothers are going through. This, I told you about this Mijwa thing. So my father had founded it. And in the beginning, he went through a lot of opposition and all kinds of things. And so one day I told him, I said, "Abba, when you're working for change, don't you feel frustrated when change does not happen at the pace you want it to?" So quietly he said, "Bete, transformation is a very long process. And when you're working for change, you should build into that expectation the possibility that change might not occur within your lifetime. And yet, you have to believe that if you carry on working with sincerity and patience, then change will occur, even if it does so after you're gone." Chanda, for me, it was like a mantra. Because, when you're younger, you're impatient and you say, Arey, hum ye itna kar rahe hain, wo kuch nahi kar rahe hain, and all that. To just see it in that perspective is, I think, just something that I hold very, very close to my heart. So it's little things like these. I remember when I told my father, I really want to take up acting seriously. Will you support me? He said, Bete, I'll support you in whatever you want. Tomorrow, if you tell me that you want to be a mochi, if you want to be a cobbler, I will support you in that also. Provided you tell yourself that you'll try to be the best cobbler in the business. My God, when you have that kind of support from your parents, then, the sky is the limit.
And talking about Farhan, again, he's worn so many hats and so many successful hats: actor, director, producer, singer. How do you look at his artistic journey?
What is very interesting about Farhan was that there was a time when both his parents were convinced that he's not going to be able to, he's not going to do anything. He dropped out of college and then he sat at home for 1 year and every single day he only watched films. And then one day, Honey kicked him out of the house and said that you can't do this. You have to go and find a job. So he went. Zoya was working in an ad agency, and then she got some job with a person called Adi Puja. Then when I worked with Adi Puja, I was doing an ad film with Adi Puja. I saw that Farhan was very organized. He was an AD. I was quite impressed. I said, "Just chalo, this is good." And then I asked Adi, I said, "Adi, ye kuch karega kya ye ladka?" He said he will be an excellent actor. He will be a singer. He will be a writer. He will be a producer. And he will be a director. And I said, "Adi, surely you are saying this only to make us happy." He's saying, "You wait and watch." And ultimately, he is all of these things. But I'm very proud of both of the children. But what I'm even more proud of is that their value system. Their value system is very, very good. So that's what makes us really happy. And Zoya gives the impression of being much more gregarious than Farhan. He takes a little time to open up, but she's very funny and he makes me laugh a lot. And he's just, they're beautiful. Both the children are lovely. I'm very proud of them.